Welcome back to From Nine to Mom, where we talk about balancing the 9 to 5 and the beautiful chaos of motherhood.
Welcome back to this week. We're trying out a new segment. We're going to call it The Shit We Wish We Knew. I think that every single week, Katie and I, everybody's in some kind of mom group, whether it's a mom chat. I've got the LST Mamas. Katie started her own group chat that we're all in, or you're
Yep.
either in the Peloton and Pregos or some kind of Facebook group somewhere. Everyone's always asking questions. We're always asking questions. So we figured there's a lot of shit we all wish we knew. Maybe we can share some of the shit we wish we knew with you, and you can hopefully share some of the things that we need to know for the future us with us.
That is for sure because I think we're in that newborn to 1 year old stage still right now.
Hmm.
So we're like reflective and like going through it the second time. You're like, throw this out, get this, and we have a lot of advice we can give people, but we've already seen how it all impacts kid to kid. But I think in light of Daisy's B day, we need to talk about the first year when you have a new baby. What do you need? What's worth it? What's worth the brand name? What's not worth the money? What did we actually use? So I'll start because I feel like
Yeah,
I'm fresh right now. Like
start
with
it off.
Calvin, I went in thinking, all right, we got everything for Jack, boy to boy. I'm set. I don't need a thing, and definitely wasn't true. There were a few new purchases, but you expect things to work that did the first time and don't work the second time. So for
Absolutely.
for Jack, I'd say my favorite item that we used for the first 2 to 6 months was that baby Bjorn carrier that you put on you.
Oh, yeah.
Jack would only sleep in that, and I used to walk laps around my house with that and just have that on. I think it was I think it's like $100, but I think it was worth it. I tried a couple. I didn't test many, but like that was my
See, that's so funny
must item.
because with Colton, I got that. I registered for it. Everyone said I needed it. I used
Yep.
it maybe one time. But then with Daisy, so I was thinking about getting rid of it.
Right.
I'm never going to use this. I tried it once at the airport.
Baby
Biggest mistake
carrying. Yeah.
ever for me. Daisy used it all the time. Also, the only
Right.
way she would relax was if I wore
Right.
the carrier. So that's
Yeah.
so funny.
It's so funny because it is. I used it probably more with Jack than I did with Calvin, but Calvin got heavier quicker, and it was
Yeah.
like torture for my back to wear that, like a full workout. And I was like, I had a C-section, like maybe not wearing this all the time. Um, but that was a favorite for sure. And with Jack, he was very into anything that he could sit in and see everyone. So like we got that baby Bjorn bouncer that sits on the ground that you could like rock. We brought that everywhere with us, and Jack would sit in it and look at everywhere. Calvin, don't you dare put me in here. I will scream.
Isn't
Didn't
that
use it.
crazy?
And that thing's like $170 now.
Oh,
I'm
it's
like,
so expensive. I
what?
never got the real one. I bought a $10 one from like kid to kid, and
That's
Colton absolutely loved it.
that's my
Daisy
recommendation here.
would
Get a knockoff one or a cheap one. Make sure they like it before you.
That's I think that's the biggest thing. People always
Yeah.
ask, what is the one thing you couldn't live without? And for me, with Colton and Daisy, there's one thing that stood out amongst everything, and I've told you about it. It was the snoo. It
Yep.
was a huge investment for us with Colton, but since then, Colton used it, Daisy used it. I swear it's the only reason we slept ever.
Yep.
And we've lent it out to tons of our friends. But the funny part about it is it's a very expensive product. For
Yep.
us, it worked. But it's probably, I'd say 50-50 the amount of people I've
Yeah.
talked to that it works for or it doesn't. So with something like that, you might want to rent it before you put it on your registry and seven people go in on it and buy you the one
Right.
item. You
Right.
can rent them on Marketplace now or rent them direct from Snoo, try
Yep.
it out. And then if the baby likes it, you can
Right.
then purchase it or continue to rent, whatever it may be. Mine's gone through, I think, 5 babies now that have actually
It's
liked
gotten
it.
its money worth.
It's gotten its money worth, but it's something that's so expensive. I don't know if I didn't put it on my registry. Jordan bought
Right.
it
It
for me
might
as an
be a.
anniversary gift
Isn't that great?
because yeah, it was, that's what happens. But it was the one thing that for both of them. But like we talked about with Colton, he loved that bouncer, like the little bouncer. He
Yeah.
sat in it for hours. We brought it
Right.
to the beach. We brought it to every party. He loved that thing.
Yeah.
Daisy absolutely hated it. And then with Daisy, there were two things with the second baby that I did a little different. One is very small. I learned about magnetic me pajamas. I sent you them when you got pregnant with
Yes.
Cal.
Yep.
Because for nighttime changing, you buy all these pajamas. They're cute. They have buttons, or what are those, snap closures?
Yep.
No way. Don't
yeah,
do
if you
it.
buy those, don't buy those for anyone. They should be discontinued.
Yeah, they're so cute, but you're not going to want to do it in the middle of the night.
No.
And I had tons of those with Colton. And then the Magnetic Me brand, some of those brands, they lasted forever. They were handed down.
Mine's in
passed
awesome
around,
shape, and we've washed
right?
it a million times.
And it's literally a flip flap done. So that's one thing I didn't know about and they're not cheap, but they're not that expensive where like that would be something I would 100% register for because they're worth it and it's not ridiculous. But the thing I didn't register for either kid that I ended up doing with the second is our stroller. We're walking like all the time. And I went through, I think it was 4 strollers with Colton, and I never loved a stroller. I borrowed somebody's Up-A-Baby when I was up in Rochester, and I knew that I needed it, but I was never going to spend the money on it. And if you can get somebody to do it, great. But for me, I went on Marketplace. The stroller set I got was $1,200. It was used probably for 6 months from somebody around here. I got it for under $200, the entire system. Bassinet, stroller, attachment, and hands down, the greatest investment that I made personally, but didn't know really that it was that important when I had Colton.
And it's so funny because maybe it's just our family. Like, I could have cared less what stroller I had. Like the car seat, something I didn't realize is that you invest in that infant stuff, and most of the time the babies grow out of that by 9 or 10
5
months.
minutes.
Calvin's going to be out of it in another month, and then you spent all that money on it, and you have to switch to an upgraded car seat anyway. So like that is definitely something I wish I knew, because Calvin, it's hitting way quicker. Jack, we got to probably 10 or 11 months, and then we were like, we had to buy all new car seats. What the heck? So that's definitely something. But stroller wise, like we just plopped his right into anything. And then the other thing that I do really like, we got a wagon, one of those, like if you've seen like the Jeep brand ones, like a knockoff of that. I'm in picturing, totally naive, my boys sitting in there nicely together with the little cup holder in the middle. We'll follow up on how that goes. But Jack really likes it. It does have a car seat attachment to it, so I can put the car seat right on it, and
nice.
Jack can stand in the wagon. And that's worked for the zoo and all that. But like in the winter, I don't use a stroller hardly ever unless I'm going to a mall.
Yeah, so why would it matter that much where we're constantly outside?
Right.
But the wagon thing, I think it's so smart, especially, and this is where it matters. Colton and Daisy are 4 years apart. Jack and Cal are 18 months apart. So you have 2 little ones. So you don't want to carry this like giant stroller, double stroller. How do you get through doors? I don't know.
Well, that's where like we were talking about when we go to the zoo. Jack when we bought that, we were like, he's at the point where he gets tired after 5 minutes of walking. Like he had only been walking for 4 or 5 months by the time Calvin was born. So it's like, we got to get something that he can sit in. I looked at some double strollers, but then Jack started not liking the stroller. I know some people that have really good success with the double strollers too. But your baby's got to be close in age. Like Colton's walking around. He's rarely.
Yeah, there's a 0% chance that he is going to sit still for 5 seconds. So that wouldn't matter to me, but it would matter to somebody with closer. And that's where if you know you're going to have kids back to back and you're looking in that first year, what do I need? You may buy one of the strollers that are convertible so that you could just add that second attachment so you don't have to buy a new stroller and go through all of that again. But I think it is really hard because your first kid, you want all the fun stuff, all the exciting things. Everyone's telling you what to get. And I think in some cases, it does make a difference. Quality over quantity. But in other cases, you buy these expensive things. I tried 4 swings for Daisy. 4.
Oh man.
Ranging from $10 to $150.
Did you have a swing for Colton? Did he like it?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
So the brand name is like the 4 Moms. Number 4
It
moms.
Wasn't that, but it was like that. And it did the whole thing. He would sleep in that.
Okay, so did Jack. Maybe it's a first kid thing. Like it's silent in the house and they're just like going with the waves.
I don't know, man. Daisy, hell no. She would
Say
cry instantly.
Kelvin, no, and I was so mad because those things are so expensive. And I had my mom actually, somebody gifted her one, like, oh, when you have the babies over, put it there. Kelvin, by 2 months, was too heavy for it. That sucker couldn't even swing.
He was so big.
It was
And
getting stuck. It was like he was rocking it. It would like go. I'm like, okay, this was okay.
and
So
you
when was
had
I supposed to put this
two
in?
big babies. I had two big babies, but your babies grew, and Kale is bigger than Jack was. I was looking back. Colton weighed more than Daisy at 5 months than she does right now at a year. We went to her year appointment. 5 months, that fat ass. He and your kids are not fat; they're chunky and perfect and adorable. But he
Of
was
course,
much chunkier than Daisy and an inch and a half shorter. So I'm like, how did he even fit in anything? But
right?
I just feel like as you look at them and you look back at all the things that we purchased and did, you go to marketplace, try and sell them off or give them to people that you know can use them. But
That's
I've
what
got a
I'm in.
bouncer in this office right now that my dog uses. Daisy never used it.
That's
It was
cute.
one of my trials. So I kept,
Well, and that's the thing is like I'm in the thing of like I know we're done having kids. I want everything out of my house, and I'm like, if someone can use it, great. Do I want to sell some stuff because I know how much it was? Yes. The one thing I will say, the last thing that we should talk about is because I know a lot of people, new parents, go through this. The sanitizers, the baby like sanitizer things. So personally, I did it with Jack. I got one and I put all his bottles in it, and then it went down, and it's been collecting dust in my basement ever since.
I did not use one for Colton. I would boil water and throw things in
Was
there
it
when I
easier?
remembered. I feel like a terrible parent because I just wasn't that specific about it. And I
Yep.
know that you should be. And to the parents listening, it's sanitation and health is super important. So make sure you do all the
Yeah.
right things. But I just didn't use
Sterilizers.
sterilizers.
I had the wrong
Yeah,
word.
sanitize,
Correct
sterilizer.
me.
Yes. And I got the
Sterilizer.
baby Brezza with
That's
Daisy
what I
one.
have.
Not is that what it's called? The baby? Yeah, it's
There's a
the
baby Brezza
dome.
one. Yep. There's like
And
intense ones now. There's ones that are washing too. They wash and
yes.
sanitize all in one,
Well,
but the
that
reviews
might be
have been
worth
bad.
it though. I don't know because that's the
Michelle
thing.
looked, my sister Michelle looked at it and she went on the wait list and she's like, do we really think it? She's been using the sterilizer, I think, a little bit. I think the daycare first time mom part of it. But I know my girlfriend that she just had her second baby girl. She's like, am I supposed to use it? Like, I just use the dishwasher. Is that
But that's the
bad?
thing.
Like,
I don't know that it is, but also I think it matters if I pumped with Daisy. So I used it
okay,
more because I had all those
pump
parts
parts.
that
I
I
do
had to
know people do use
sanitize.
it for pump parts. Yes,
And
that's probably easier.
also, I think it matters depending on what bottles your baby uses. So I always use
Okay.
Como Tomo. That's another thing.
Yep.
Do not register for the most expensive
Oh
baby
God, we'll
bottles
have to do a whole segment on
because,
bottles.
yeah, the bottle's a whole nother story.
We
But
can't even get into
we
that.
ended on Como Tomo,
Yeah.
and they're two pieces. I don't need to like do a whole, it's very easy to
If you
clean.
have Dr. Brown's bottles, I know that they're great, but I feel sorry for you.
Yes, and that might be a situation where you do want the
There's
wash
so many
sanitize thing
parts.
because there's like 8,000 pieces.
I was so sad when Kel started liking those, and then we just forced him back onto. We have the Phillips, and we forced him back onto it. I was like, sorry, but
Here you
this is
go.
what we got. I'm not buying y'all new bottles.
Daisy, as we said, hit her 1 year mark, and I was cleaning things out, and I found three giant bags, like the Wegmans Aldi bags
Mm-hmm.
filled with different types of bottles, different pump types, because you try so many things in that first year to see what works. And as we're looking at the end, I'm starting to move things out to make room for new things. And it's just unbelievable how much stuff you accumulate and how many
Yeah,
things you think you need. And at the end of it all, you're looking back and you're like, I wish I didn't have this. There's no right answer. I think every mom is going to have their top product for a
for their
specific
kid, right? Yeah,
reason. And that's where I think sometimes as you're doing your registry, put the items on that you need in that first year, but allow some gift cards and grace to yourself to be able to
yeah,
try different things out, leverage other moms, marketplace, all that stuff.
for
Because
sure.
let me tell you, you hit that 1 year, you've done it, I've done it, and then the birthdays come and it's a whole nother ball game because
Getting
now it
those
is
getting those
first year
free
toys.
yeah, get in the free mom exchange groups where they leave stuff on the porch, you go pick up, you do the same. um, but we definitely need to get into our segment lasted like what we usually do our whole episode here. But we need to talk about Daisy's first birthday, presents, prep, all the things. How
So I'll tell you, it was awesome. She's a New Year's baby. It was her golden birthday. So we did the Harry Styles You're So Golden
amazing.
theme. I went all out on certain things, but not all out on others because I learned from the first one. I had the cute cookies, but I
But
did
did you
basic.
want to go more all out because it's your last kid?
Yes, and it's New Year's, and I've always loved New Year's
Right.
Eve. So we had probably like 55 people at our house over the course of the entire night.
Oh my God.
I wore gold, like Elton John, Harry Styles pants. People showed up in their gold. We had disco balls hanging from the ceiling. We did a fake ball drop for the kids. It was
Awesome.
really fun. I was able to save money in different ways. My mom helped me do
Yeah.
platters and cook, so I didn't have to do the
Perfect.
whole catering thing. It was at my house. I got a bounce house. My number one tip for any birthday, if you can have it at your house, just get a bounce house. You won't see the kids for half the night.
Yep.
It's fantastic. We put a light in it. They jumped forever
Awesome.
for 24 hours, literally.
Yep.
And then the parents were, because it was New Year's Eve, we did the ball drop. A couple people stayed behind. I'd say most people left by 9:30. Handful of us
Perfect.
stayed, did the ball drop together. Daisy woke up at midnight, whether we woke her up or not.
Oh
And
my
then she
God.
celebrated with us. So that
Uh,
was kind of nice and really fun. But the party was a blast. I really had a good time. I focused on things that brought me joy because people are always like, the first birthday they don't remember. Why do you do this stuff? But like we've talked about in previous
yeah.
episodes, one of our first episodes I think was about birthday pressure and the
Yep.
pressure of birthdays. Is now that it's your second kid, you know what not to waste
Sure.
money
You
on
know
per
what's really
se.
important.
But the
Yeah.
pressure's always there. And
Yeah.
it was their golden birthday, and it was a memory for me, last kid, closing out a chapter of my life,
Yeah.
welcoming in a new chapter. And I think I had a great time. So I hope she had a great time. She's one. So Colton had a great time. We all the rest
Hey,
of us
that's
had a
good.
great time. And as I
Yes.
said earlier on Monday, I had partied a little too hard, I think, a little emotional.
Yeah.
So it was still great. It was fun. And then the presents, like you said, getting ready for all people kept asking, what does she like? A
I
1 year old,
know.
you don't know. She likes music and singing. So I got a
What was the
couple.
top gift? Top gift.
Well, I mean, there's a couple that she really loves. You got her the unicorn, the bouncing,
Oh
bouncing
yeah.
unicorn, and she loves that thing, like
Yeah.
absolutely loves
Oh,
it. She also really loves the karaoke machine that Colton got for his birthday.
okay.
So she will sing forever on the karaoke machine. And this picnic basket, this Fisher Price picnic basket
Oh, all right.
that has all these little foods and makes a lot of noise, plays with it nonstop. So her birthday's so close to Christmas. Also that Pottery Barn
Something.
chair, she loved that. Someone got her,
Yep.
like my girlfriend Sam got her that, and she absolutely loved it because she's in that
Awesome.
climbing stage.
So that's the perfect thing.
So I
Yeah.
would say if you're asking, I think people make registries. I didn't make a registry because I don't know what my kid wants, but I think it is okay to say whatever your kids like or regift.
Yeah. And I think
My,
it's also okay to just bring diapers. It's okay.
that's a really good
If
point.
you don't know or you're single and you're going and you don't have kids, somehow you're coming across this podcast and you don't know what to bring. I told some of our friends that had no idea. I'm like, just bring us, here's the size. Go in, and even if they got the wrong ones, you can exchange them. So just tell people diapers.
Your kids play with wipes the same way they play with
Yeah.
toys. So
It's a
I'd
true
say
gift.
diapers for sure. And then the gift cards, because then the parents, if they need to go get
Yes.
new stuff for the kids,
Yep.
they can go do that.
Yep.
And I think wine for the parents.
Yes. Little host gift / mom gift.